Going live. Okay, so we are live, Shabnam. A very warm welcome to Surface Reporter. I'm meeting you after a long time. Last I
Yeah.
met you in 2016 during the
Yeah,
WEID Asia first conference, right? So you
that's right.
haven't changed at all, Shabnam.
Thank you so much, Vertica, for having me on this live broadcast. And yes, I have meeting you after a long time, but even you haven't changed at all. So I must say that to you.
Yes, when the inspiration, when I'm inspired by people like you, how can I change? I have to stay with you the way that you are.
That's very
So,
kind of you. But yes, I think it's important. I think when we love what we do, it kind of shows. And I think that's the case with both of us.
yes, with most of us, I would say. So, Shabnam, you don't need any introduction. You are a person who has really, really created your own style of design, own style of telling stories through spaces. And it seems like, once you are given a space, you just have conversation with the space, and as if you understand what the space is actually telling you to do. So I would like you to, rather than me telling the introduction and all that, I would like you to start with your journey. I know, like, when you begin, probably design chose you rather than you going to design. Design came to you as a career, opportunity, and you started very early. I think 16 or 17 years old. Yes. You started very early.
Yes, I actually, I mean, you're very right. Where I have never planned anything in my life as such, and I think I was quite a handful when I was around 16 years of age, and uh, my dad put me in a home science. Not put me in, but he really wanted me to get into a home science college because I think he thought that I am too much of a tomboy or too wild, like shape uh, taming of the shrew is what I would like to call it. And I did take admission in one of the best home science colleges here, and within 1 month I knew this is not for me. And fortunately, I got into a good design college, and that's it. I mean, design chose me. I have no idea how I got into design, but I am so thankful to destiny that I did.
So, Shabnam, when you started with design, did you feel that, okay, you are finally with something that you really wanted to do and you always wanted to do, you wanted to be in design? Did you feel something like that and there was no stopping after that? Was it something like that, love at the first um, meeting, I would say? Was it like that? Or slowly you immersed into it and evolved with it? How was it?
I think I always had love for the arts. I was always very creative bent in my mind. But that I would take to interior design the way I did, I don't think I fathomed it at that point. It's just when I got into design, I realized that it's something I love immensely. And it's something which, uh, if I may say so, doesn't come, it comes easy to me. It's as if, it's very natural. It's a natural extension of who I am. And I think over the years you just keep working on yourself and keep bettering in it, but it never feels like I'm going for work. It always feels like there's something great that's going to happen each day, and I love that about what I do.
Okay, okay. So you finished your studies, I think, in 1994.
I finished my studies in 94, that's right.
Yes, and then started in 2003. I think you started the Orange Lane. Yes.
Yeah, so I actually interned after that in my dad's office. Then I interned in a couple of architects' offices, and I started. Uh, I did a couple of projects with a couple of friends of mine, and then I realized that I have my own individual language. And 2003, I started my own firm, the Orange Lane. Yes.
Okay. So what was the first project, and how was the first, experience when you started your own?
I was very fortunate, Vertika, honestly speaking, because my first project was a friend of mine, my sister's friend actually. And I think they were just so kind that they trusted my aesthetic with hardly any experience. And that's asking for a lot when I look back. They lived in London, and this was their second home. And they'd seen a few of my, very small works, or the way I'd done up the bedrooms, or the way I'd done up my first studio. And I straight away landed a four-bedroom house with a brief, which was a dream brief that do what you feel like doing.
Wow.
Uh, so I honestly was very, very fortunate because that was my first foray into an independent project. It was a large project, it was a very creative project. I had wonderful clients, and I think I never looked back after that project itself.
Okay, so very lucky, and I'm sure,
Very
like when
fortunate.
someone, yes, extremely fortunate, and I would say that when someone, someone sees something in someone, the potential, then only then that thing comes that okay, you have the freedom to do, the way you like. So I don't think like they didn't see anything; they saw something in you, and that's the reason you landed up with that project, and there was no stopping back, right? So, Shabnam, you say that you were a tomboy sort of thing, and your parents sort of wanted to tame you, or so to share some of your good memories or sweet memories from that time.
So the thing is
You
that
as a student, you as a child, you as someone, your parents are trying to tame.
no, so it's a joke which I keep bringing up. I think to bug my dad till now, where I
Oh,
say that it was taming of the shrew. But the fact is that uh, I was introduced to the arts, introduced to museums because of him. And I was also introduced to dreaming. He always said that you can never achieve something till you actually don't know how to dream. You first need to have a dream, you need to have the ability to believe in yourself, and then you can reach for the sky. So he actually taught me to think limitless. But at the same time, I think I was such uh, a free spirited child, or such a stubborn child, that I played cricket with all the boys of the society till I was nearly 15, 16. And that was very worrisome for him, because while the other girls had gotten into dressing up and, realizing that, oh my God, this is the opposite sex, I was bang in the middle with all the boys in my short shorts, playing everything possible. So I used to. Just to bug my dad, I think I used to wear fluorescent shoelaces of different colors in my hair and frizz up my curly hair. So he used to wonder that what is this girl going to do? I used to wear toned jeans. So he said, "Iske saath to matlab if I don't tame her down, she's going to become a complete rebellious child," which is very funny because at the same time he insisted. So I remember from one of the incidences, we were doing up my bedroom. We had just shifted into a new house, and he insisted that I use pink tiles in my bedroom. And I was very far away from the color pink at that time. And we finally ended up putting pink tiles. And my sister, who's a fine artist, she stayed up all night and she spray painted them with street art spray paint. So my father was shocked the next day that, I mean, this is what the girls have been up to. So I think I was a handful in that sense.
Okay, so you had a very, very joyful, childhood, and you got to explore all both the ends. Because if not, you have said this thing, I would have never imagined you because you're so calm, composed. Seems like
Yeah,
maybe
I think that comes naturally as you grow older, but that was not the case then. I think
now
design
I know
calms me a
that.
lot. Yeah.
Now I know that that child is still within, and that is getting reflected through design.
I would think so. Like I said, I think design is my biggest calming factor. And I
Yes.
think that has really channelized that energy for me. So I'm
Yes.
grateful for that. I'm grateful for
So
that. Yeah.
now we know who is inside, and okay, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. See, knowing these kind of aspects and all that, this is something that a free conversation can only enable. So,
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I agree with you on that.
you are doing so much of design. You are now known as a designer for celebrity homes. So, when was the first opportunity that came to you? And I think you also worked for a production house briefly, if
I
not
did.
mistaken. Yes.
I did.
So,
So
how did it start, and where did it start?
um, I think my first brush with the, if I may call it, the celebrity world, was with Vidhu Vinod Chopra. Very, very earlier on in my career, when I had, he'd seen some of my works that I had done, and I did up his office at that point. And
Yes, we lost your voice for a while.
yeah, I said so I had started with Vidhu Vinod Chopra, and then post that I did up the home for Mr. Aditya Chopra. And that
Mhm.
was his private home. That was way before I did the home for him and Rani together. And
Mhm.
again, I mean, being, he obviously, being the person he is, that was not a home I ever spoke about, and it was very, very underplayed and quiet. And I think I was also learning the ropes at that point. And since I've never marketed myself, or since I'm not a very sociable person, or I don't go and network, I think it happened word by mouth, through and through. So
Mhm.
we've mostly grown only through referrals, which is great, because then
Yes.
that's a very solid foundation. So I think then I got referred, and I got further referred. And of course, then, we ended up doing Parineeti's, and then we did Irfan's. And through Irfan, I think we got Kangna. And now they've all
Yeah.
become dear clients, dear friends. And, we are just finishing Kabir and Minis. And there are many more in the pipeline. So, I mean, I think
Mhm.
it's just been through our works, people have seen, and then they've come back to us.
Yeah, that's the way a strong foundation is formed. And, the referrals with word of mouth is the strongest referral, it is said. So,
Absolutely, yeah.
with every space that I have ever explored, your design, each space, it's very difficult to confine the designs as any type. Okay, so that makes everything very interesting. Like every design that we open for any client that you have done, you try to really go beyond your stage style or beyond anything. So how do you start this strike this conversation with space, and how do you move with each and every project? What is your design approach usually?
I think there's no fixed formula to it, Vertika. It's sometimes the space that demands a certain design. It's the kind of openings and the kind of light that filters in that sometimes sets a chain of thought process. Sometimes it's meeting the client and understanding the client. Like, you end up meeting such diverse people, and people with such great minds, that sometimes a client's philosophy, or the way they see themselves living a certain lifestyle, which triggers
Mm,
off the direction. So there's really no fixed formula. But what I have learned over the years is that um, our work as interior designers is not only about creating good looking spaces.
mm,
It's about creating lifestyles. It's about creating joy in people's homes. We actually do so much more than only creating a pretty place. Um, and it's about how that place works after it is created, and how it continuously evolves and continues to bring that joy and beauty to families. So I think when you adapt that philosophy, the way you look at design, or the way you look at taking it forward, your perspective changes. And I think that
mm,
is something which has really helped us create very individual projects, because no client is like the other. And no
mm.
requirement, everyone has their own requirements, their own wants, their likes, their dislikes. And we become instrumental with our style to actually create homes that are personal for them.
Yeah, I'm sure. In one of the interviews you mentioned that interior designers have to be sort of a little bit of or great percentage of psychologists also.
Yes, they do. It's a fact. I mean, there's so much of psychiatry involved. There's so much of understanding that's involved. There's so much more if you dig deep, actually.
Hmm. Irfan Khan seems that he was quite involved during the design process. Also mentioned that okay, he wanted some water body or something, and which I think you really created a very beautiful water body within the interiors. So Irfan Khan is someone we really love. Please share some of your experiences designing his home.
So Irfan actually was not so involved in the design. He had very few requirements, and
Oh.
he was a very quiet kind of a person who would not day to day mein kya ho raha hai, what's happening, what's not, really that was not the case at all. I think with him, he wanted, and even the way he gave his brief was not like how a regular client will tell you I want this color or I want this tone. His whole brief was that I should be able to enter the home and feel like I'm walking on grains of sand, which is what led us to create textured stone flooring.
Mm,
And I come from a world where in acting I am wearing so many different characters' hats that when I come home, I want there to be silence. I want to be able to cut off from the rest of the world. Now, that's the brief. So you have to pick up
awesome.
what the client is trying to tell you from that brief. And that's when we created huge landscaped 3 4 layers to cut him off visually from the surrounding buildings, and used soundproofed windows to cut off sound. And so I think with him, we it was like a guessing game. He used to just
Mm,
make these statements, and then we had to pick from there and say, okay, I think this is what he means, and then you decipher the whole
mm.
what's going on in his mind or what
So
he's thinking.
beautiful.
So it
Yeah.
was it was a very different client relationship, and I think it turned out so beautiful. He wanted to be able to sit at the end of the day and hear the sound of water
Mm,
resonate through the house.
mm,
So I still remember when we did the handover and he walked in, and we'd created this beautiful uh, electric blue water body right in the middle of the living room with this copper pot, and the water would overflow, and there was this very soft sound according to me. And he entered
mm,
and he said, if I was to uh, hear this sound every day, it can drive a person mad. So he was so
mm,
sensitive to sound,
mm,
and he had to
mm,
actually then rework where it softly trickles. So because his mind was so quiet. So I
mm.
think I think that's the beauty of our profession, that you interact with such people, you learn so much, you understand each person's sensitivity being different, and yeah, that was a very very fun project.
Yeah, so what it seemed to me like, as if he used to write a poem and
Yeah,
you had to really, understand, it can have different perspectives for many, but you have to really get the
absolutely.
right perspective and design according to it. Such a sensitive
Absolutely.
person and
Yeah.
so beautiful
Yeah.
of explanation that you have done. It
Yeah, but
really
it's
touched
true.
my heart.
Yeah, it's true. And I think it was a wonderful journey with him. Whenever I look back, I think I only smile when I think of those interactions.
Yeah. The kind of the sound, the amount of the
Yes.
sound, so that it
Yes.
really complements to his thoughts and do not interfere with them. Such a
Correct.
beautiful thought, right? So, how was your experience with Kangna, her designing her mountain home?
Kangana actually is the most wonderful professional person to work with. And I know that, she's outspoken or she speaks her mind, and a lot of people feel that, no, I don't think so. And I mean, so many people have walked up to me and asked me that, how was it working with Kangana? But in all honesty, I think she was a thorough professional. It was one of our most seamless projects. And I mean, that's a big deal because you're creating a home in the mountains where she's at shoots, she's not, able to travel to keep seeing what's happening with the work. The kind of trust and faith she had on the kind of work we were doing, she didn't interfere in anything. She literally, we gave her a detailed presentation. We shared all the details of design intent that we intended to create. She literally came on site once, which I have not experienced till date, with any other client. She came to site only once. She had everything that was approved by her was approved. She's a very visual person, and
mm,
she has the vision to be able to envisage, which most people lack. So creative people either think visually or they think, I mean, I don't know, I think visually. So that's the only way I know. But I think she
mm,
completely gets it, and she's a very intelligent girl. So when you
mm.
explain something to her, she's already two steps ahead and very clear cut in her decision making. She had one little addition that she wanted on her ceiling, which she had seen in a hotel in New York, I think. But other than that, she came straight for the handover, and she loved the
Oh,
house. So it was
wow.
that clean a project, and that's why it's one of
Yeah,
my projects which are very close to my heart.
definitely, definitely. And the images that I saw really awesome and so beautiful. See, these days, as women tend to speak, so sometimes some women are taken as, uh, they are difficult to work with and all that. But at
Yeah.
times, that also makes them speak their mind. I think
And
clarity
you
is very.
must. I mean, I think it's very important to have an opinion. I think it's very easy to not have an opinion.
Yeah,
So I
that's
I am
going to the back seat and not having an opinion is very fine, but having a voice and knowing that, okay, this is my voice and this is very important. And so,
absolutely, and
as women,
I respect that absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
we see a lot of use of art, craft, Indianness in the designs that you do. We see a lot of mix, and yet every everything sort of stands right. The art that I see behind you, if you can explain a little bit about that.
I think I'm very, very attached to my roots. So, not in the traditional sense. So, I'm not someone who will dress traditionally, but I will definitely incorporate something to do with
We lost your voice again.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, again, it's fine. Yeah.
Okay. So, like I was saying, that I think I'm someone who is very, very attached to my roots. And
Mm,
tradition is something that, whether it's in the form of craft or whether it's in the form of, um, handmade materials, there is this little ethnicity which attracts me. And what
mm,
I love is I love to create spaces which are world travel spaces, which finally come back to your roots, because that's who
mm,
we are, that's our identity. And I'm very proud of my identity. And I think
mm,
that's one of the reasons why uh, uh, you see a lot of traditional craft and art as part
mm.
of the kind of work that I do.
Awesome, awesome. So I saw a ad or sort of an ad film. It was for mirrors, I guess. Different types of
Yes, that's
mirrors.
right. That's right. Yes,
So
yes.
it's so Indian, so much Indian. We really don't have much of those kind of stuff. I think we need more of that. And it seems
Yeah.
so interesting. So what's that about? Tell us about your product designing, the products you design, and the things you design other than interior design.
Yeah. So that actually is, it's my retail store, Peacock Life.
Yeah.
And my retail store actually has a lot of craft and design from India and from different places that we uh, uh, procure it. So a lot of recycled material and a lot of things which are reusable, which give new
Yeah.
lease of life. And I think that was and the best part about that ad is that we did it with the local villagers. So none of them
Yeah.
are actors, all of them are the local villagers. And we made them wear Gucci glasses, and we made them wear their turbans and smoke a bidi. And it's
Mm.
fantastic because I think that's what India is all about. That is the true India.
Yes, that's true, India, and we really need this kind of stuff, more of these kind of things, because I saw that ad so many times, and every time I see it, I like it so much. So wonderful. Tell us about your retail store. What are the products you have? What are you doing? What are you up to now? Current
uh,
project.
so I am someone who's not a very a computer savvy online shopper, but in this lockdown, we have now gone completely online. So it's something which is part of. Sorry, I'm just adjusting my camera
Yes,
because,
feel free. Yes.
yeah, okay. So that is something we've gone completely online in this lockdown, and that
Mm,
is something which I'm quite happy about because I think that's the way forward. We're also designing complete range of products which are available. Uh, I would like to believe nowhere else because they're going to be exclusively designed only for our retail brand. So that is
mm.
something which is in the pipeline soon. There's also some more exciting stuff which we'll unveil slowly over a period of time where we are planning to work a lot with the artisans and things like that. But that is something which I think we'll speak when we are ready about it.
Okay, wonderful. We'll wait for that. And definitely, I think lockdown has been a period for you wherein you got some time to rethink
Yes,
and
absolutely.
rework on all
Absolutely.
those things.
Yeah, yeah. I
So
think I
I'm
think
sure. Yeah, please.
yeah, I think the lockdown has actually been a great time for everybody to reinvent themselves. It's given us time to think, to evaluate, and I think if taken positively, it's going to have some great outcomes also.
Yes, you know what? It has already been something which has led offices reporter to get completely online into lot with lot of institutions which were we so dearly, in print, and we never wanted to
Correct.
get online with all those things because they're so special in print. But then yes, we are
Yeah,
getting online in a big way. But now
yeah,
the point is now we want that okay, we want to get back to the normal. Okay, because you're done with the change. Now we want to really shout out to the world and get back together. So, looking forward to a lot of things that is coming up with you. And tell us something about, everybody face some sort of challenges, and I'm sure you have faced some challenges in your life too. Maybe in terms of people's or society's thinking, in terms of how to scale up, in terms of running your design firm. So, what kind of challenges were really difficult, and how did you come out of them?
hmm. So the thing is that I am someone who's actually not very perturbed with challenges. I think for me, my biggest challenge is always uh, trying to balance everything in life. I think that is something which used to be a very big challenge for me, to raise kids and work and have a retail store and not want to stop and run at a certain pace and not being able to do that because of family commitments. But
Mm,
I don't call it a challenge. I think it's a learning. And I think when you
mm,
learn how to do that, each phase, each stage of your life poses different learnings and challenges at you. I think
yeah.
earlier my challenge used to also be to not be so sharp tongued with people in my teams. So again, that is something which you learn that you can't get work done on site just by losing it. I mean, you still lose it sometimes, but you learn that, okay, that's how it is. You need to accept things. Um, then again, I mean, at some stage you feel you really want to scale up, and you question yourself whether it's commercial over the kind of work you do, the kind of detailing you do. If you scale to that extent, you can't give the kind of personal attention you want to. So I think life is full of all of these uh, stop moments where all of us need to sit and question ourselves and reinvent ourselves. So that's how I look at it, honestly, not as challenges. And I think each of us go through our own little battles, and I'm sure
Mm.
that's something that's going to continue till we are 60. So bring it on.
Yes, because being mothers and at the same time running your own, own firm and trying to scale up, being creative at the same time managing things definitely takes a lot of toll on ourselves.
Yeah.
How,
Yeah.
how do you keep the sanity intact?
So for me, I think I've learned over time to compartmentalize. I've learned over time to be at work and be at work, be at home and forget work. um, I've learned that it's very important to travel. It's very important to remove some time and get away, uh, and I've learned that honestly nothing in life stops without you. And there is
Hmm.
nothing that's going to happen if something is not done. So you need to breathe, and you need to say it's okay, and things are okay.
Hmm.
So I think
Great.
it's changing your own attitude, and I've learned
Okay.
that over time, and I think it works well.
Hmm.
Sorry, Vertica, I'm fiddling around with my camera.
Yes. So take a moment and just adjust your frame in the way that you like.
Sorry.
Take a moment and adjust the frame to the
Yeah,
position that you
this
want.
is better. I'm back to my normal frame. Sorry.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. So definitely there's some sound disturbances.
Yeah, there is a crackling sound, but I don't know if I've done something.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that okay now?
Yeah. Sort of.
Yeah, I think because my mic seems to be okay.
Okay. So let's go ahead and still some sound
Yeah, there
proceed.
is a crackling sound. I don't know. What would you like me to do?
Just check the mic once.
Okay, is that better now?
It seems to be.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
it's coming when you're talking.
Let me check my side too. You know what I do? For these interviews and all, I just sort of freak myself at one point.
Yeah, I mean that's the online world, so that's what we are all
Yes.
living with.
So, Shabnam, everyone wants to know about, some of your favorite projects. You've done a lot, but which ones are very close to your heart, or which ones really were very difficult, or had a lot of, the brief was very different and kept on changing, or some sort of challenges, and you really felt very happy when with the end result. So, which are the projects that were very difficult?
I mean, I think it's unfair to choose or pick one project over another, but I think when you are working on projects there are certain memories attached to it,
Yes,
and
yes.
I think that's what you reflect back on, and it makes it a little more special than the others. um, I definitely think Kangana's Manali home is one of the top ones, purely because it was such a clean canvas, zero
Hmm,
interference, and the travel to Himachal,
hmm,
for that full year was just so gorgeous because I love the mountains. So that's
hmm,
definitely one of them. Um,
hmm,
I think I think honestly, even her studio that we've made over
hmm,
here, even
hmm,
her office, which of course has been in the news for all the wrong reasons, was again, it's one of my favorites because I think it made national headlines. It was such a beautiful space, and it's such a tragedy with what finally happened with it. And
hmm.
I think that's more to do with just Kangana being Kangana and what she had to endure. And in because of that, it's our project too that had to go through that. So I will definitely state that as a second one.
I
Um,
was looking at the Manikarnika's, this designs just a
yeah, I
while
mean
back.
it's such a neutral space, it's such a soulful space, it's a space which has so much depth and so much energy, and it was just destroyed. So like I said, that's one of the reasons why I would like to say that that's the second one. And I think the third one would be the bar stock exchange that we did in Kamla Mills, Lower Parel, because we won our second national award for that. And it was I mean, I love that project. And again, a great client who gives me a lot of creative expression freedom, doesn't question me at all. So, and lets me do everything that I want to do. So that project
Hmm.
also shaped up so gorgeous. So I think that would again add to the list.
Okay. So we all, though we do not want to, separate projects, as good or bad or favorite or something, but do have a lot of stories behind, some untold stories which the designs or the photos do not tell. Only the designer behind can talk about it, right? And every project, I'm sure, is a big learning.
Of course, I mean, every project is a learning. I mean, I don't know if I can recollect any story like that. But it's just that I think every project is special and every project has its own journey with the client, with the teams. Um, Sometimes you envisage something, and when you go on site and you see, all the workers working, and you completely just say, wait, I think leave this wall the way it is. So I think there are
Hmm.
such moments in
Hmm.
every project, which
Hmm.
are unexpected outcomes of what you creatively felt at that time. And I think in our studio we love this spontaneity and we love to do stuff like that. So yeah, but I don't think I can pinpoint anything particular.
I'm sure, but okay, we will move forward with our next question. Still, the crackling sound is following us. Shabnam, you design a lot of products. So, plus your experience with product design. Oh, when did you start product designing?
So I am not a product designer. I am an artist in my head, an aspiring artist. I'm an experimental mad scientist in my head. Uh, I think the product design is just an outcome of all these adjectives. Uh, I think we like to try new stuff. We don't like to repeat anything that's been done on a project, and that
Hmm.
actually led to designing the bricks which went to win the Edida, or designing different product range for my retail store which are exclusive to us. I think it's more that fire or that passion that drives you to do that. But I'm not a trained product designer. I'm not so technically sound when it comes to that. I just like to have fun.
And I'm sure you're having a lot of fun doing a lot of
I
designs.
am. Yes, I am. That I am definitely.
So, as you are exploring design, um, art, craft, and all that together, what do you think? Like, what kind of opportunities Indian art and craft has on a global level?
I mean, you can't take away the art and craft in the world around you. I mean, I think the it's such an intrinsic part of who we are. Of whether you see Bansky street art, which is highlighting social issues, or whether you see in India itself, if you look at uh, the forts and the palaces and the kind of craft that went into creating them. I think it's all part of history. It's all part of the
Hmm.
movement. It's all part of what people feel today. So I think it's a part of who we are. And I'd like to believe that every individual has creativity, some less, some more. Some are more aware, some aren't. So I think art and craft is just part of our living
Hmm.
globally, right? I also believe that um, it's boundaries that create continents or countries, but art and
Hmm.
craft is for everybody. It's seamless. There's nothing which limits you. It's so limitless. It does not know color, it does not know race. It's just appreciation of beauty, which is closest to nature. Nature is the only thing which actually just unites the world. And I think art and craft does that too.
Awesome, awesome, wonderful. So, if given a chance, or if you get a chance to pick up one form of Indian craft or art, which you can take really, which you can take on a global level, or can bring in front of the people, which art would it be?
Hmm. So I'm very fascinated with Thekri work. And it's the molten mirror work which takes place in
Mm-hmm.
Rajasthan. And we are, of course, in the middle of trying out and experimenting some product range with that. But I love how it looks. It's so glamorous and yet it's traditional. And if you change the form, it can become modern. So it's
Mm.
it's uh, it's very enticing,
Mm.
and it's still so rooted. So I love that about that art form. But I'm partial to so many art forms, so it's wrong for me to actually again only say that. But yes, I love that bakery work.
Okay. So now we know like some kind of things that are coming up. We'll also have this. Okay. So you are an inspiration for so many, so many, so many people. And we would like to know who you are inspired by. I'm sure your father is one.
Yes, my parents are a very, very big inspiration to me. Uh, they inspire me for reasons uh, which keep you learning. They don't let you stagnate. And I think I aspire, or I hope to be a fraction of, say, what they are as people. So there are uh, so many different layers to life. It's who you are on a personal level, then there's a professional level, there's an emotional level. It's how much you evolve as a person, not only in your work but even on a personal level. So I think that personal level is what I derive from them. And I mean, nature, of course, has been one of the biggest inspirations ever for me. I think that is something that can never, that thirst can never be quenched, because uh, I think God uh, is one of the first creators. Let me put it like that, because
Mm.
there is absolutely nothing that that cannot um, that can be matched up to how nature is. I don't. I think so many designers or architects take inspiration from nature, and it's still not enough. You can just keep going on. So I think that is a definite big influence in my life.
Awesome. Awesome. So there are a lot of designers, young designers, who who are trying to come up, who want to make themselves visible, and work is the only way to differentiate their presence. However, is there any other point that you would like to take their attention to, something that they should take care as they are scaling up, as they are growing, or as they're aspiring to go to the next level for the young designers?
I think what I'd really like to tell a lot of the youngsters today, and I try to imbibe that in my studio also with, I have a lovely young team, which gets us going all the time. Um, don't run after the money, don't run after the name, or don't run after the end result, because if you're passionate and if you are true to your work, it will all follow. It's bound to follow, whether you want it or whether you don't, it's still going to come to you. But I think uh, your solid reputation that you build by being passionate, and by having that fire in you, there is no replacement for that. There is no replacement for hard work and honesty. And I think if the young generation can just abide by this, they'll fly, they'll go places, because they are very talented. They have technology on their side. So I
Mm.
just think they need to have their roots in place, that's all.
Okay. Honesty and hard work can never be replaced. That's what Shabnam Gupta is saying. Someone is asking a question, Manish Gaur. Will you give to upcoming designers for them to get value recognition from the client?
No, say that again, please. I missed that.
Yeah, I've put the question
Yeah.
on screen.
Value recognition from the clients. Is it empathizing with the client? So, Manish, I am, no, not at all. So, empathy is actually very, very important. Empathy is very important. And empathy, even to understand what empathy is, uh, it's it is it is a part of your relationship with the client. But I think empathy should be part of who you are. It's something I continuously work on. It's not something that comes naturally to me, but it is something which, you become aware of your shortcomings and you start working towards that. Empathy is one of those for me. Uh, but I think, at least the way I have functioned, so I can't speak for others, I have always been very honest with my clients. If I don't like something, I say I don't like it. And I don't think about the consequences, because the way I look at it, I am being paid a lot of money for my opinion. I'm being paid money for my vision and for my aesthetic sense. So if I'm going to try to keep someone happy by sitting on the fence, that's really not going to work. So I'm hoping that my client has the maturity and understanding that my opinion matters, and
mm,
that's honestly how I've always dealt with it. And there are times where the client does not agree with your vision, and that's fine.
mm,
You
mm.
need to not be stuck. You need to uh, find a
Move
way
on.
to either get the client to see your point of view, and or you need to find a way to keep your vision intact and incorporate what they want. So I think that is what you have to work on yourself, honestly, because you'll meet
Mm,
all kinds of clients, and that's why I keep talking about empathy and evolving, because all of that is part of your career growth.
mm, mm, mm. Okay, so Lohit is saying very true. It's really important and inspiring to young generation. So,
Thank you, Lohit. Thank
Madhu is
you.
asking how important is communication for designers?
Communication is very important. I think our entire career works on communication, because you're the only one who is visualizing the design. It's only in your head,
Mm,
and you are the captain of the ship, and everyone is following you, including the contractors, the vendors, the client, and it's the client's money, and it's your
mm,
vision. So if you can't communicate to the client and convince the client to see your vision, but you can do that
mm,
only if you are so clear in your vision and you are completely you're completely sure of your own
mm,
work. So I think communication is key, right from dealing with contractors to right from uh, everything, everything.
mm. True. Being honest, being true to your work, and if we have the ability and fearlessness to share your opinion in a very honest format with the client for a discussion. So, Mr. Krishna Makhwana is asking, uh, how do you convince your client for design material of what you are looking at? At times, it's difficult to convince them, but after getting it done, they appreciate it. It's a kind of a similar question in a little different format. So it's very difficult at times. So Shabnam, how do you deal?
So the thing is that, sorry, Vertica, I am again going to change my position because my battery is
Feel
dying out.
free, feel
I am
free.
on my mobile today. Give me a minute, just bear with me.
Sure.
Okay. Uh,
Yes.
Sorry. So the question was that how do you convince your client
Yes.
for design material or what you are looking at? Okay. Um, I mean, you have to be convinced yourself. If you're convinced, it'll be easy to convince the client. I think first you need to be very clear about does that work? Because if it works, if it's a good decision, then why will the client not see that? Then the client will see it's a great decision. So I
Mm.
have, when I get asked these questions about how I convince my client, I honestly first need to convince myself. I honestly first need to be sure myself. And if I'm convinced, then I know my client will be convinced. And for me, it's always worked like that.
Yes. Because ultimately, you and the client both have to work for one vision, that is for the project of the client. So,
Absolutely.
and yes.
And if your client and you can't see eye to eye, then that's a wrong client combination. Then that
Mhm.
client should be going to someone whose work they can relate to, because that's
Mm.
very imperative, because otherwise it will be a very painful journey for you and the client. And you don't want that to
Mm.
happen. And you don't want the end result to be something which the client doesn't like. So that is
Mm.
something which I think is also very important.
Yeah, so sometimes some conversations may not be as pretty as good, but then those conversations are, I think, very important and very
Yes,
crucial for a project.
absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm. So Madhu was asking one more question, and that was about how do you select products for your for the Peacock lane?
Peacock Life.
Yeah,
Uh,
Peacock line, right? Mm.
we outsource a lot of products, I travel a lot. I try to pick up a lot of pieces which I can give a new life to and recycle them. Also, we design a lot of pieces and get them manufactured. So it's a combination. It's a combination of a lot of things. Fortunately, my work allows me to travel so much, even for client sourcing, that you're always seeing new things. You're always going to new places, exploring new vendors, and that helps.
Mm. So, Mr. Krishna Bakwana is saying thank you, ma'am. And so I have another message from Kawana Shri BN. She is saying, I'm an interior design student from Karnataka, really waiting for a chance to work with you, ma'am. You're truly as beautiful as you design.
Thank you, Kavana. That's very, very kind of you. Um, I, uh, I mean, I hope I can help young designers like you to understand what a beautiful career this is and how much of a difference you actually make to people's lives through our design. And I think if you understand that and if you consistently keep at it, you'll definitely go places. So, wish you all the best.
Awesome. Kawana, if I would have been in your place, I would have really been jumping now. So there's Mr. Ujjwal Mehra. He's asking, how do you efficiently work with a client who are confused? I think,
I mean,
yes, Shabnam.
I mean, I don't know how are you all getting such confused clients. How is everyone getting confused clients? When you meet a client, they should have seen your body of work. They should love what you do, and if they don't love what you do and they are asking you to do something else, then you need to tell them that I think we are a wrong fit. Because if you're a right fit, then they, and if they're still confused after loving your work, then they need to design their homes themselves, because then why are they paying you money? So you need to be able to tell them with a lot of love that you're paying us money because we have a visual sense, we have the vision for the whole project, and please trust us. But you don't say please trust us to someone and mess up their work. You say please trust us to someone and then they should love their work. So that's something which you need to know about.
So Kawana is asking one more question. Does doing a master degree helps in interior designing profession, or you would suggest us to learn through on-site experience? I really have this question since a long time, she's saying.
I when I interned, my first internship after college, I actually used to sit and cry on my desk because I realized I knew so little from college. And when I used to go on sites, I knew nothing. Uh, there is no greater teacher than actually jumping into work. Uh, I'm sure you definitely will learn something which your masters will teach you. But I'm a very firm believer that, especially a line like ours, which is not only theoretical and which is not only technical. It's about learning how carpentry works. It's about knowing the processes in civil. It's about understanding electricals and plumbing. I think it's very, very important to get real time experience. And I think anyone who first gets into work, whether masters or not, you will realize you're
Hmm.
on ground zero. You've learned nothing in college when you will actually go on site. So you might as well go on site, you might as well gather that experience and do your masters later if you need to. But first, actually experience what it is to understand what you've learned in college. I would highly recommend that.
So I hope your question is answered, and that answers as well to the query of a lot of youngsters who are really, really confused about how to do it. So while an education institute really takes you through the process, through the theoretical part and a lot of practical part also, I'm sure. However, at the same time, on-site experience and real market experience and real hands-on experience, there is no substitute to it. That's what Shabnam Gupta is saying. Madhu is saying on-site experience equally important. Fine. So before we end, I would like to know from Shabnam, what is your message for Number one, the design
I didn't
fraternity.
get that, Vertica. I didn't get that. Your voice was cracking. Say that again, please.
Okay, what is your message for the design fraternity? Do you have any message for the design fraternity as a whole? Number one. And number two, to women in particular.
For the design fraternity, I think there's so much exciting work happening. It's so wonderful to see. It's a great time currently where a lot of people are collaborating. We are collaborating with so many different studios on different projects. Uh, every I mean, at least I see so many studios pushing the envelope, pushing the boundaries, experimenting. So I think from the design fraternity perspective, I would think it's a great time to be in India as a designer, and sky is the limit for us. From a perspective, and I'd also like to add that we believe that, you know globally, maybe designers are doing better work than what we are, and sometimes you get a little intimidated with what work globally is being churned out. But I beg to differ. I think we are doing great work. I think we're very strong in the kind of work we are doing. So
Mm,
kudos to that. Um Coming to women. So I have a very strong women's team in my studio, not intentionally, but it's just that I have it. And I think women, uh, I was taught as a girl that when I was growing up, that there is no difference between me and my brother. We were both taught to dream. We were both taught to reach for the stars. And I think women should stop second guessing themselves. Women should stop trying to uh, be the ones who need to all the time uh, doubt or think whether they can or they can't. Women are naturally such a strong sex. They are such strong individuals who have a natural gift of being able to multitask, of being emotionally so strong, of being
mm,
there for everybody, including themselves. So, why do they forget themselves when they remember everybody else? I think the
mm.
women should support women, and I don't see what stops us.
Wonderful.
Nothing.
There is nothing that's stopping us, and in India, we should be looking within and definitely believe and know that we are really doing good work, and it's only going towards the better and better work, right? And with this good note, I would like to know: is there any message for Surfaces Reporter?
So Surface Reporter has always supported women designers. Wade India is again something which has been your initiative, and it was just fantastic in 2016 when I was there. To see all the women from the fraternity, and I thought, what a great initiative. Not because I feel that, oh my god, women need more of a privilege than men. I don't believe in the difference in men and women, but I just felt that it was paying a tribute to
Mm,
everything that women do in their
yeah,
lives. So I think Surface Reporter is doing such a fantastic job in that sense, that they've created such a distinct mark for themselves. And that's all because of the great team and you, Vertika. So
thank
kudos to
you.
you guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, with this good note, and definitely, I'm looking forward to meeting you physically someday
Absolutely.
very soon,
Absolutely. Soon.
and also
Hopefully
to
soon.
walk through your retail store,
Sure. We will do
exploring the
that. We'll do
designs,
that in separately. Absolutely. We'll do that.
exploring the designs, and doing a news report there itself live.
Sure.
Yes,
Sure.
that would
Sounds
be
fantastic.
awesome. But before
Exciting.
that, I'd like you to be over with all the good things that you are going to bring, the
Yeah.
updates that you are going to share soon.
Absolutely. I will do that. I will do that for sure.
A lot of best wishes from Surfaces Reporter and Vade Asia. And yes, Vade Asia was created not to empower, because women are already empowered, right?
Absolutely.
It is just to create a space where women can, women's recognitions and contributions can be rewarded, celebrated.
Absolutely.
women who do not find that much time to network gets the chance to network and go towards collaboration for larger goals. And I'm
Yeah.
glad in the 4 years we were able to do it. And very soon in 2021, we're coming up again. And whatever we do, online, offline, or hybrid, will definitely have the blessings from inspirational people like you all the
Thank you so
time.
much.
Thank you. And with
Okay.
this, we end the live show.